Welcome to the AJ Sports Show. Today, we'll discuss some college football's Week 5 and NFL's Week 4. And as I'm recording this, we're smack dab in the middle of the MLB Wild Card series. As a Cubs fan, the Cubs fans, it's not easy being a Cubs fan a lot. You know, the Cubs never make it easy on themselves. They got shut out. So, on to Game 3, which I assume Jameson Tyone can pitch. That's going to be a nerve-wracking game. All right, let's discuss some of these games, shall we? All right, for college football, let's start with Florida State, Virginia. Oh, this was a game. Virginia actually jumped early. They were up 14-0, but then Florida State punched back, so halftime, it was 21-21. Florida State misses a field goal, their first drive in the second half. Then Virginia answers with a touchdown. Florida State answers with a touchdown. And Virginia would score again. And then late in the fourth quarter, Tommy Concealos throws a touchdown pass within seconds to go. So, forced overtime. And for the first overtime, both teams exchange field goals, and then Virginia scores, gets a 2-point conversion. Florida State, they had a touchdown that was missed by inches as the receiver was bobbling the ball. Once he finally secured it, he was out of bounds. And then Tommy Concealos throws a pick in the end zone on the fourth down. So Florida State suffers their first loss of the season. They fell into one of those Friday night trap games. We know for some of these games, when a ranked team goes on the road on Friday nights, always be aware that is most likely going to be a trap game. I don't know, sometimes maybe the short practices, when they have to travel earlier, maybe they just have the tendency to look past their opponent, especially when you're Florida State that had Miami, that's going to have Miami this week. Maybe they were looking too ahead for that Miami matchup. But Florida State suffers their first loss. TCU, God. Remember we thought TCU was going to be good? It took a big, giant bump in the road. They were once up 17-0 against Arizona State. Well, Arizona State came back and won by 3 points. Houston and Oregon State. Houston, this was a trap game for you. Fortunately for you, you were able to win in overtime. But please, don't play down the competition to a winless team again, please. Ohio State beats Washington 24-6. That game was actually kind of a struggle, but it's much in the game. Oregon beats Penn State 30-24. It's only hilarious because James Franklin cannot beat top 10 teams at all. Like, this is the James Franklin curse. I mean, he's pretty much modern-day John Cooper. John Cooper was like the head coach before Jim Tressel took over. And when John Cooper was head coach, Ohio State was always that top 10 team, but it could never be top 10 teams of their own. And that's James Franklin. Fortunately for James Franklin, I guess he made it to overtime. Then Drew Aller does Drew Aller feigns and throws a pick. So, congratulations, Penn State. You lose against another top 10 team. Oregon improves to 5-0. Ole Miss beats LSU 24-19. Ole Miss looks good. Could they win the SEC? Possibly. Even though the SEC, there's like 5 teams that could genuinely win it. LSU, you don't have an offense much this year. That defense has done much of the carrying job, and when you face against teams that can score, they're going to score some points on your defense. And if your offense can't answer with scores on their own, you're going to lose. And that's what happened to LSU. It's so weird that I like Lane Kiffin more than Brian Kelly. That's how big of a clown Brian Kelly is. He was a clown at Notre Dame. He's a clown at LSU. Alabama, Georgia. Georgia. It literally doesn't matter who's the head coach of each team. It doesn't matter which team is better than the other. Alabama always beats Georgia. Over the last 25 years, I think Georgia has only beaten Alabama, I believe, 3 times. 2002, 2007, I believe, and the 2021 national title game. Everything else, Alabama wins. And I don't even know Alabama is that great of a team, but this is what Georgia does. It's at Athens this time. And Georgia dominated the ground. Like, how? How do you keep losing to Bama? Get out of here, Kirby Smart. I'm not screwing with you no more. Texas A&M beats Auburn 16-10. That was a struggle bus. Indiana beats Iowa 20-15. I thought Indiana was going to win this game, not much of a problem, but this was a defensive slugfest for much of the day. Iowa State blows out Arizona 39-14. It looks like the Big 12 is going to come in between Iowa State and Texas Tech. Tennessee, Mississippi State 41-31. This was another game that went to an overtime. Tennessee survived. Georgia Tech, they have their first scare of the season. Yes, another game that went to overtime. Georgia Tech was able to win 30-29. It's nice to see Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech hasn't been good in a decade, so it's nice to see them play well. Vandy destroys Utah State 55-35. Diego Pavia is literally my front runner of the Heisman Trophy. He is a guy I would vote as of right now, although Vandy's going to get their test at Tuscaloosa this week. Be prepared. Mizzou blows out Massachusetts. Lincoln Riley still proves that he will never have a defense, no matter what team he coaches on. They lose to Illinois 34-32. Illinois kicked a game-winning field goal. Notre Dame blows out Arkansas 56-13. The blowout was so bad that Arkansas fired Sam Pittman. Sam Pittman, he had that one good year in 2021, and then it just never improved. Yeah, the 2021, they went 9-4, and then they just fell off ever since. It's just, he was a one-year wonder of a head coach, and he never improved. BYU beats Colorado 24-21. Minnesota beats Rutgers 31-28. Duke destroyed Syracuse. Remember when Syracuse last week beat Clemson without a problem? Yeah, they got pounded against the Blue Devils. Pitt. Jeez. Pitt was up 17-0 at one point. Then they lose 34-27. I think it's time to fire Pat Narduzzi, boys. It's the same old crap in Pittsburgh. Cincy beats Kansas 37-34. That was a shootout. Kansas State, where was this in week 1? Too bad. You already have 3 losses. You're already screwed. You beat UCF. Too late. UCLA stays winless. They lose to Northwestern 17-14. Cal's 4-1. They beat Boston College 28-24. Baylor destroys Oklahoma State 45-27. Not looking good for Oklahoma State. They already fired Mike Gundy. At this point, it's just let's finish the season off and see what happens then. Utah bounces back 48-14 over West Virginia. Virginia Tech beats NC State. That was funny. Virginia Tech just fired their head coach, and they're awful. But they upset NC State 23-21. So, not good for... Wow. And that is it for college football's Week 5. And before I get to the NFL, let's talk about some potential key matchups. For Week 6, Illinois-Purdue, I'm not going to get invested. Illinois is going to dominate. Purdue's not good still. They're years away, if even they can even get there. Barry Odom is so vanilla to me. Not a bad coach. He did all right in Mizzou, and he took UNLV to their best years ever, but still very vanilla fire. Oklahoma should blow out Kent State without a problem, even with a backup quarterback. Georgia, Kentucky, Georgia should bounce back and win. Iowa State, Cincinnati. This has the potential to be a trap game for Iowa State. Don't look past the Bearcats now. Wisconsin, Michigan. Michigan should win without a problem. Wisconsin's not good. Clemson and North Carolina. Oh, that game has the potential for memes. Dabo Swinney against Bill Belichick. Oh, Bill Belichick. Man, ever since Tom Brady left you, you have made bad decision after bad decision. Wow. Penn State, UCLA, that should not even be a contest. Texas, Florida, Texas should win because Sunbelt Billy is still Florida's head coach. Vandy against Alabama. This is a test for Vandy. Can Vandy get into that upper echelon of SEC teams in 2025? Well, they got their chance. Travel to Tuscaloosa against the Alabama team that's probably hell-bent for revenge after last year. We'll see how that goes. Virginia, Louisville. That has potential to be a good game. Washington and Maryland. Syracuse and SMU, the battle of the two disappointments. Michigan State, Nebraska. Basically, who gets to go 4-1. Texas Tech and Houston. This is going to be a good game. Texas Tech right now is pretty much the front runner of the Big 12. Again, then they play against Houston. That's going to be a very good game. The Big 12 this year is going to be a very drunken, which team's going to win the most close games and win the conference. That's how that conference is going to go. Miami, Florida State. I think Florida State, even though they just lost to Virginia, I think Miami's going to come in a little bit too confident and just not be at their best. And I think Florida State wins. Mississippi State, Texas A&M. Texas A&M should win, but don't look past Mississippi State. They're not terrible this year. They're a respectable opponent. So don't look past them, Aggies. Don't do it. All right. Let's talk about some NFL Week 4. Seattle and Arizona. Seattle was actually in control most of the game. And then the Cardinals' offense decided to actually exist in the fourth quarter, tied the game. But Seattle was able to drive for a game-winning field goal. 23-20. Seattle improves to 3-1. Colts and Rams. Oh, Colts, you should have had this game. Oh, A.D. Mitchell, what, man? A.D. Mitchell, why did you pull? Did you not learn from Jonathan Taylor last year? Fumbling before you cross the goal line, my dude. And then you commit an obvious hold that negated a JT rushing touchdown. Wow. It wasn't all on him. Most of the Colts just did not play their best. Jones made some bad reads. The running game was okay, I guess. The defense didn't play well. Matthew Stafford lit it up. Puka Nacua he looked like 2021 Cooper Kupp out there. Xavier Howard got so cooked to the point where he literally retired today. Xavier Howard, you were good in 2020. Fake him out corners they age fast. And that's exactly what happened to our buddy Xavier Howard. Good career. He made some Pro Bowls, but like I said, most corners have a short shelf life. Steelers and Vikings. This was a stupid game. Steelers ended up winning, but man, how was this game not a blowout? Was very damaging for Steelers, man. Falcons and Commanders. Falcons actually won this game 34-27. I thought Commanders would win without much of an issue, but nope, Falcons brought their A game today. Bills beat the Saints 31-19. The Saints tried, but that's really all the Saints can do. They're not a good team, but at least you can tell they're trying. Joe Flacco got destroyed against the Rams. The Rams beat him so bad that the Browns are starting Dylan Gabriel this week. Oh, that's going to be funny. That means no more targets for Harold Fannin Jr. That's because Joe Flacco loves throwing to those tight ends. Patriots smoked the Panthers 40-13. That game was not close at all. Giants upset the Chargers 21-18. Justin Herbert looked immortal. Giants pass rush went ham. Brian Burns, he's playing his best football of his career. The only cost? Leak Neighbors. Yeah, he got his ACL popped, so Giants are going to officially have nobody to throw to. Good luck, Jackson Dart. Not only you do not have much of an offensive line, now you just lost your best receiver. He's going to look rough. Eagles and Buccaneers. How did the Eagles not finish the Bucs off baffles me. They were up 24-3 at one point, and the Buccaneers got it down by 8. And what's even funnier, the Eagles did not complete a single pass in the second half and still hold on to win. The Texans shut out the Titans 26-0. The Titans are so bad. How is Brian Callahan still a head coach baffles me. There are some names you stay away from in the NFL, and there's two of them, Hackett and Callahan. If those two names are the last names of that coach, do not hire them. Because, would you like to know who Brian Callahan's father is? Bill Callahan. Remember the guy from the Raiders who, he only had that one good season because he did it with Gruden's players. Then they fell off the face of the earth. Then he was terrible in Nebraska. Yeah, that Callahan. And we all were going to think, Brian Callahan's going to be better. No. No, he is easily the worst head coach in Titans history. And then the Titans had Ken Wisenhunt. Jaguars drunkenly won again. They beat the Niners 26-21. Niners are just, there's so many injuries. It's insane. Like 2 wide receivers, running back, one of their other running backs got hurt. So many. You know what other team that's injured? Baltimore. Man, the Ravens do not look good this year. And I thought they were going to be the best team in the AFC. I was wrong. Again. They got blasted by the Chiefs 37-20. The Chiefs looked like they were in their old form again. And Lamar Jackson got hurt. He might miss a game or two. That means it's Cooper Rush time in Baltimore. And that Ravens defense. That defense. Remember when we thought the Ravens got one of the best defenses in the NFL? Oh my gosh, they're horrible. And I thought they were going to have one of the best defenses in football. Not looking good. It's the Steelers might win that division because Browns are still terrible. The Ravens are basically killing themselves this year. And we'll get to the one other team in the AFC North. We'll get to there in just a few moments. The Bears, they beat the Raiders 25-24. That was a pretty good game. Bears, they got some momentum. Packers and Cowboys. This is the most drunken tie game I have ever seen. Both defenses could not make stops. This was a shootout. Like the first quarter and a half, you thought, all right, the Cowboys are going to lose. It's 13-12, Packers advantage. And then the Cowboys started scoring, and they didn't stop. And then after that, both teams just trading punches. Score without fail. Regulation ends with 37-37. Overtime hits. Cowboys get the ball first. They get the field goal. Packers get the ball second. They took way too much time on the clock. There was 4:40 on the game clock in their drive. They took their sweet time. And then the last 20 seconds, it's 2nd and 23. They threw a check down with 20 seconds to go, and he didn't have a timeout. And on 3rd down, they rushed the play. They threw the ball back in the end zone. And the Packers were very lucky there was a second left. Because that could have easily been a loss. Fortunately, there was that 1 second left. They were able to kick the field goal. And as a result, it's ended with a tie. Matt LaFleur, you brought your 2020 self, didn't you? Don't do that again because, man, remember the first 2, after week 2, we thought all the Packers were Super Bowl contenders instantly? Man, that's taken a massive detour. Dolphins and the Jets. Which team was going to be terrible? And the survey says the Jets. The Jets continue to show that they're the quote-unquote same old low Jets. The Dolphins beat them without much of an issue. Although, like the Giants, winning this game apparently cost them one of their players, Tyreek Hill. Nasty knee injury. That was bad. That was a bad injury. And he's out for the rest of this season. And Who knows if he'll be good to go starting week 1 of 2026, because that was bad. That was a bad injury. 2 big-time wide receivers gone for the season for the rest of this year. Malik Neighbors, Tyreek Hill. They're both really good receivers. I can't stand Tyreek Hill as a person, but he's a very good receiver when he's productive. We'll see how he can bounce back, because that was a nasty injury. I told you I was safe for the other AFC North team. Remember I said how the Steelers were going to somehow win this division because Ravens keep shooting themselves in the foot. The Browns are still terrible. The Bengals are dead. They're dead. The second Joe Burrow got injured, everything about this team died. This is the second time they got absolutely blown out of the water by the Broncos, 28-3. I mean, even the score doesn't do it justice. The Bengals could do nothing positive. Offense couldn't do anything. Defense couldn't make any stops. It was a beatdown. And the Bengals, they're 2-2, but they are bad. And this has the potential to be Zach Taylor's last season. I have mixed feelings about Zach Taylor. I never think he's a head coach that can get him over the hump. And they might fire him at the 3 straight seasons missing the playoffs. When you have Joe Burrow as your quarterback, that's probably going to cost him his job. All right, let's get to these games real quick. Thursday nighter, 49ers and Rams. I'm going to say the Rams win this game. There's too many injuries for the Niners. That team has the potential to be derailed again. Raiders and Colts. I think the Colts should be able to win. I think they should be able to clean some mistakes. And I think they'll win. It'll be close, but I think they'll win. Vikings and Browns. Dylan Gabriel's first start. I'm going to do a quick search. Is J.J. McCarthy good to go or not? It looks like it's not guaranteed that McCarthy plays, so it's going to be Carson Wentz again. This game has potential to be super duper ugly. I'm going to say Vikings win because I don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to have a good debut. It's Dylan Gabriel. Giants and Saints. I actually think the Saints win. I think the Saints win their first game. Cowboys, Jets. Cowboys win. The Jets are horrible. Broncos and Eagles. I think Eagles wins at Philadelphia. Dolphins and the Panthers. I'm going to say the Panthers. I think they win that game. Both teams are not good, but one of them has to win. I think it's going to be Carolina. Texans and Ravens. Cooper Rush might potentially start. I don't know how this game is going to go because even though the Ravens don't have a defense this year, the Texans' offense has been uninspiring all season. And the Texans' defense has been really good this year. So I don't know who to pick, but I'm going to take a shot. Texans. I think Texans win. Titans and Cardinals. Cardinals win. The Titans are horrible. I can't say it enough. The Titans are atrocious. They're bad. And even though I don't think the Cardinals are a great team, they should be able to win. Buccaneers and Seahawks. I'm going to say Seattle. I think Seattle wins. I think that has potential to be kind of an ugly game, but I think Seattle wins. Lions and Bengals. Lions are going to kill the Bengals. The Bengals, like I said, are dead. Commanders and Chargers. Wow. Here's the thing about the Chargers. They're going to be without their 2 tackles. They were already missing Rashawn Slater. He was out in the preseason with that knee injury. And now they're without Joe Alt, their other great tackle. So I don't know how their 2 backup tackles are going to hold up. So I'm going to say Commanders win. I think the Chargers offense is going to kind of slow down because who's going to stop any pass rushing with 2 backup tackles? I don't know. And the Commanders are still reasonably a good team. Your Sunday night are Patriots and Bills. Why was this the Sunday night game? Why? It's going to be a Bills win. The Bills are going to win without much of an issue. It'll be competitive for the first half, but then the Bills will show they're the better team. I don't know why that's a Sunday night game. Monday night are Chiefs and Jags. I'm going to say Chiefs. The Jaguars, they're good, but they're not impressive. They haven't impressed me, and I just think the Chiefs are much more experienced and they just have much more pedigree. They're going to win that game. All right, on to the playoffs. As I'm recording this, the Reds and Dodgers game 2 is on. Reds are currently up 2-0 as I'm recording this, so take that for what it is. But I'll talk some baseball real quick. The Cubs won game 1, and they got shut out in game 2. So in game 3, they're going to start. The Cubs are going to start Jameson Taillon. The Padres will start Yu Darvish. I absolutely hated Yu Darvish when he was a Cub. He was only good for like 1 year there. So hopefully the Cubs batch just lit him up. Guardians, they managed to tie this series. They beat the Tigers 6-1. And their game 3, their pitchers are going to be Jack Flaherty, who has been a gas can this season, and Slade Ciccone. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And the Yankees did win today. They're forcing a game 3, which I think for that game it's going to be anything goes. I think anything goes for that game. And that's all I really have for this episode. So I'll tune you next week, and thanks for watching.